Hello everyone, this is Trish, the Purple Yarnivore. I have been a little busy lately. First off, I want to thank everybody for your condolences regarding my mom. I really appreciate that. It's been rough, but I'm getting through it. And the death of my mom is gonna hurt for a while. But you know, I just have to push on, and I just have to continue with my life and not allow myself to shut down. Crochet has definitely been therapeutic for me. And thank God something good has come out of it, because I have created a tutorial. And I'm very excited to share it with you. This is my first tutorial ever. It is for this hat. I'm in love with it, and I hope you will be too. So get your hooks, get your yarn, and let's crochet a hat. Okay, so let's get started on this hat. This is my first tutorial. I am actually pretty excited about it. So today we are making this hat. I am using Premier Everyday Anti-Pilling. It is a number 4 yarn. It says to use an I-9 hook, but I am using an H hook. Oops, upside down. A 5mm H hook. So let's get started on this. So you're going to want to make your slip knot. And you could do a magic circle with this, but I just like to chain 4. And we're going to slip stitch to the first chain. Chain 1. Now we're going to put 12 double crochets in the center of the ring. Whoops. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, whoops, 12. Okay, when you got your 12 double crochets, you're going to slip stitch to the first double crochet. And then you're going to chain 1. And right here, you're going to put 2 double crochets. So 1, 2, and in the next stitch, you're going to put 2 double crochets. And in the next stitch after that, you're going to put 2 double crochets, and you are going to put 2 double crochets in every stitch around. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, now I have done my 2 double crochets in every stitch around, and we've reached the end. You should have a total of 24 double crochets. you are just going to slip stitch to this first double crochet and chain 1. Okay, and we are going to do another increase row. So the next row, we're going to do 1 double crochet in that first stitch that we slip stitched into. Then in the next stitch, we are going to work 2 double crochets. So we have 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets. In the next stitch, we do 1 double crochet. In the stitch after, we do 2 double crochets. Okay. So you see we have the 1 double crochet, and in the next stitch we have 2. The stitch after that we have 1. Then we have 2, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet in the next, and we follow this pattern all the way around. 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and we follow that all the way around. And I will be back with you when I reach the end.
And infestation because the cat food.
Okay, now I've made it all the way around. You should have 36 stitches. Your last stitch should end with 2 double crochets, and we are going to slip stitch this. Chain 1. Now we're going to put 1 double crochet in that stitch that we slip stitched to, the first stitch. We're going to put 1 double crochet in the next stitch. Then in the third stitch after this one here, we're going to put 2 double crochet. 1, 2. And that's going to be the repeat all the way around. 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet. So let's do it one more time. So we ended on an increase, and that's what it's called when you put 2 stitches in the same stitch. It's called an increase. So we got 1, 2, and then in the next stitch we increase. Okay, and you're going to follow this pattern all the way around. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, and I'll be back with you when I reach the end of the row. Okay, so now we've reached, I believe this would be 48 stitches. You end with 2 double crochets in the last stitch. You want to slip stitch to the first stitch of the row. And chain 1. We're going to do another row of increases. So in this one, in the first stitch there that we slip stitched into, 1 double crochet. In the next stitch, 1 double crochet. And in the stitch after that, 1 double crochet. So that's 3 single double crochets in a row. And then the stitch after that, 2 double crochets, an increase. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and then in the same stitch we're going to do 2 double crochets. And we're going to repeat this all the way around, and I'll meet you back at the beginning. Okay, now we've made it back around. Now we've made it back around. We are going to slip stitch to the first stitch. And we're going to chain 1. Now, at this point, see, this is big enough for me, okay? This circle is big enough for my head because I kind of have a small head. Now, what is up to you is you can increase another row for a bigger hat by starting with 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet. So 4, I'm sorry, not single crochet, double crochets. So you could do 4 single double crochets in a row, and then in the 5th stitch, increase with 2 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 double crochets. I am going to get started, however, from this point, and we are going to start the bobble row. Now, if you do another increase row, you would do this exactly the same way. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn our work, and do not worry about this stitch here or this part here. We are going to go into this stitch right here. And what we're going to do is a 5 double crochet bobble. So we're going to yarn over, go into this stitch, pull up a loop, draw through 2 loops, hold that, yarn over, go back into the stitch, draw through 2 loops, and hold that. Yarn over, go through the loop, draw through 2 loops, and now we have 3. We need 2 more. So we're going to yarn over, go through, pull the yarn up, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, go through the stitch, pull through 2 loops, and now we have 6 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all the loops. Then we're going to chain 1 to lock that in place. Then we're going to skip this next stitch and go into this stitch here. And we're going to do another bobble. Let me pull out some more yarn here. So we're going to skip this stitch here. This doesn't exist, okay? We're going into this stitch here. We're going to yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops, and hold. Then we're going to yarn over, go into the stitch, pull up some yarn, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and hold. Yarn over, go through the stitch, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and we got 3 so far. See, 1, 2, 3. We need 2 more. Yarn over, go through the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, that's 4. Yarn over, go through the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through all the loops, yarn, chain 1 to lock that in place. Again, we're going to skip this next stitch. So we're essentially putting bobbles in every other stitch all the way around. So we're going to skip this stitch and we're going to go into this stitch. So we're going to do our bobble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yarn over, pull through all the loops on the hook, chain 1 to lock that in. And if you flip it over, you'll see that we're creating these really beautiful bobbles. So go ahead and repeat that all the way around. You're going to skip this next chain, bobble. Skip this next chain, bobble. Skip this next chain, bobble. And don't forget to lock that in with a chain 1. And I'll be right back with you at the end of this row. Okay, so I've created all my bobbles all the way around. As you can see, it's bobbling very nicely. And now here at the end, this is what your end should look like. You got your bobble here, you got these two, and then you have this one. Now I want to explain that this doesn't have an actual stitch in it. You just slip stitch to this when you joined this round here. And we did not create a bobble in this stitch. So this is basically a blank stitch. So at the end, don't let this deceive you, okay? Don't let this deceive you. I know it's going to be somehow feel intuitively wrong or something, but don't let that deceive you. This is going to act as a blank stitch, okay? So we're going to skip this stitch. We're going to go into this stitch and create one more bobble in the row. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull through all, chain 1 to lock that in, and then we are going to join. See, this acts as a blank stitch, so it's just like this stitch here that you skipped. This acts as the same thing. So we're going to slip stitch into the top of that first bobble we created, okay? All right, and then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to turn this. Now here's another thing. We are not going to crochet into this. We are, as you can see, each bobble has a small stitch and then this bigger stitch on all of them, okay? You can see this smaller stitch and this stitch. We're not going to worry about this here. This is just your chain 1, okay, from the previous row. What we're going to do is we're going to yarn over, and our first stitch of this row is going to go into this small stitch here. So we're going to double crochet, and this first stitch, I know it's going to be tight. It's tight for me, but once you get past this first stitch, it's not so bad. So give me a moment just to wrestle with it here. Trust me, I know it looks rough, but this will work out. I know, I fight with it for a minute. Here, I'm just going to give a tug on that stitch. You're going to go in there. You will go in. Ah, there we go. Now I got it. Okay, so I got into that first stitch. That's going to be the hardest stitch that you have to deal with. Okay. And then we're going to create our double crochet. Then we're going to put a double crochet into here. So you're going to yarn over, go in there, and create another double crochet. And we're going to do this in every single bobble. So every bobble will have 2 double crochets. So let's do this again. We're going to go into this little stitch here, which is the chain 1 that you created. And we're going to double crochet into it. And then we're going to double crochet into the larger of the 2 stitches. And we're going to do this all the way around. Double crochet into this little one here. Whoop. That one was much easier. It gets easier as you go along. And then double crochet into this stitch here. Okay, so that your stitches look like this. All right, so do that all the way around, and I'll meet with you when we get towards the end. Okay, I'm back with you. I've reached the end of the row. I put my double crochet. This is the last bobble. I put my double crochet in the smaller stitch of the bobble. And here we are again with this. So as you see, when we connected the bobble row and slip stitch into this one, we didn't actually put a stitch in there. We just simply slip stitch to connect this bobble row, you see? So this is still an open stitch, and I don't want this to confuse anybody. But this is still an open stitch. Forget the slip stitches here and see this as an open stitch. So on this last bobble here, you got the double crochet in this smaller stitch. You are still going to put a double crochet in this. Even though there's a slip stitch there, it's not an actual stitch. So we're just going to put our last double crochet in, and then we're going to slip stitch to the first double crochet of the row. And then we're going to chain 1. We are not going to turn right now. We are not going to turn our work. We are going to yarn over. And you see this here, this is just our chain 1s of the row. So what we want to work on is this stitch here. And we are going to do a front post double crochet. So you're going to yarn over, go in, around and behind the stitch and come out the other side, yarn over, pull through, okay? Yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. And you've made a front post double crochet. Now, we're going to do it one more time. We're going to yarn over, go in from the back, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and pull through 2 loops. And we have 2 front post double crochets. Now in this next stitch here, we are going to do a back post double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to come in from the back, bring our hook around the front, and go out the other side. And we're going to pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. And we're going to do that in this next stitch here also, another back post double crochet. So we're going to go in, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, okay? These next 2 here are going to be front post double crochets. Okay, front post double crochet. The next 2 are going to be back post double crochets. Back post, back post. So as you can see, we got 2, 2, 2, 2. 2 front posts, 2 back posts, 2 front posts, 2 back posts. And it's 2 by 2 by 2. Okay. Now we do 2 back posts. And now we do 2 front posts. And we're going to repeat this all the way around. 2 back posts, 2 front posts, 2 back posts, 2 front posts, 2 back posts, 2 front posts, until we get all the way around to the beginning. And I'll meet back with you when we get there. Okay, so we've made it to the end of this row. And you should have 2 front posts here. And we started out with 2 front posts. So these 2, you should end with 2 back post double crochets. And we're going to do those. Now on this last one, you see that this here, this is just your chain 1. So we're going to leave this chain 1 alone. We're not going to mess with it. We're going to do our last back post double crochet in this stitch here. Okay. And then we're going to slip stitch to this first front post double crochet. So we're going to slip stitch to that, chain 1, okay? Then for this next row and the next row after that, so for the next 2 rows, we are going to repeat this last row here with the front post double crochets. So we're going to ignore this chain 1 here, and we are going to front post in the front posts, and back posts in the back posts. And we're going to repeat this all the way around. Front post in the front post, back post in the back post, all the way around your hat until you come back to the beginning. And then we're going to slip stitch into this first front post double crochet, just like we did. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to immediately do another front post double crochet, front post, back post. We are going to repeat this for this row and the next row after that. So a total of 3 rows of front post and back post double crochet. And I'll meet you when we reach that point. Okay, so I done my extra 2 rows of the back post and front posts for a total of 3 of those. So after the bubble row, we did 1 row of just regular double crochets, 2 double crochets in each bubble all the way around. We did, after that, we did 3 rows of the front post and back post double crochets. And as you can see, it's creating just a really nice texture. So we're at the end of the last post row, okay? And again, you see, you're going to see these 2, okay? These are just your chain 1. This one here is the one that you're going to do your last back post double crochet. And then you're going to slip stitch to the top of your first front post double crochet. Chain 1. Now we're going back to the bobble row. Okay, so this is where we turn our work again. So we're turning our work, and as you can see, there's this here, and there's this little tiny chain here. We're going to ignore this one. We're going to ignore this one. This one is our focus. So we're going to put our first bobble in this chain. Not here, not here, but we are putting it right in here. Okay, so we're going to put our first bobble. Three, 4, 5, pull through all the loops, chain 1, skip 1, and go into this one with another bobble. Three, 4, 5, pull through all the loops, chain 1 to lock that in. And we're going to repeat this all the way around, just like we did with this bobble row. It's going to be the same bobble row, okay? And don't forget to turn so that the inside of the hat is facing towards you. We don't want it like this. If it's facing this way, it's facing the wrong way. Because remember, you have to turn after you do your chain 1 here. So do your bobble row again. We're going to skip 1, put a bobble here, skip 1, put a bobble here, skip 1, put a bobble here, and don't forget to chain 1 after you pull through all the loops on your bobble. So I'm going to complete this row and I'll meet you back at the beginning. Okay, so we're back to the beginning, and I'm going to run through this rather quickly this time. But as you remember from the last bobble row, even though there's a slip stitch in this is still an empty stitch. So we're going to put our last bobble, we're going to skip this stitch, put our last bobble in this stitch. This stitch doesn't exist, and then we're going to slip stitch to the top of this bobble here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And slip stitch to this. Chain 1. And since we turned to create the bobble row, we're going to turn our work again, so that we can start on the double crochets. Now, again, I just want to let you know that the first double crochet we do, it's not going to be in here, it's not going to be in here. Our first double crochet is going to be in this little stitch here, then the next one here, then this one, this one, this one, this one, all the way around. And when you get back around to this here, okay, and just like the bobble row, this is an empty stitch. You slip stitched into it, but it's an empty stitch. So when you finish your regular double crochet row, you're going to put your last 2 double crochets right here, and then you will put your last double crochet right here, because this is just chain 1, okay? This here this is just your slip stitch. So this is still an empty stitch. You'll want to put your last 2 double crochets right here and then one right in here, and then slip stitch to the first double crochet of the row. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the double crochet all the way around, and I'll meet you at the beginning. Okay, so I reached the end of this double crochet row. Now I don't want you to forget that this here is an open stitch. Even though you see this slip stitch in here, that is an open stitch. So we're going to double crochet into that, and then we're going to join to the first double crochet, chain, slip stitch to the first double crochet, chain 1, and then, you know, this is nothing. This here is nothing. We want to do a front post double crochet in this stitch, back post double crochet in this stitch and this. So 2 front posts, 2 back posts, 2 front posts, 2 back posts. And you're going to do that all the way around until you reach the beginning here, your last 2 stitches here, because remember this here is nothing. So your last 2 stitches here, you want to make sure that they are back post double crochet, because you'll be starting with 2 front posts. So you want your last 2 stitches to be back posts. And you're going to repeat this front post, back post row, 1, this being the first row, and then a second row and a third row. And then you'll start all over again with your bobble stitch. Now the repeat on this hat, it starts at the bobble stitch, your double crochet row, your regular double crochet row, your 3 rows of front post, back post, and then back to your bobble. Now, when you get this as long as you want it, okay, depending on the length of your head from whether, you know, from the ear to the top of your head, okay? When you get it as long as you want it, you can end with this double crochet row, or if you reach your last row of the bobbles and it's going to be too long to put a double crochet row, instead of doing the double crochet row, you could do single crochet all the way around, and then maybe 1 more row of single crochet, or even the crab stitch, also known as the reverse single crochet. So this is such an easy pattern. Once you get the hang of it, it's so easy. It has so much texture. It's just gorgeous. I fell in love with it. I have made a few of these and they're really quite lovely. So you go ahead and you complete this. Go start with 1 bobble and end with another. Okay. When I did my hat, I had 2 sets of this. So from 1, 2, I had this, and then I had 1 more section of the front post, back post, and then I had 1 more row of the bobble. So I had a total of 3 bobble rows and 2 of the rib sections. And then instead of doing this double crochet row on my hats, I just did a single crochet all the way around. And the length of it was perfect for me. Now, if you have to do another increase row, okay, so here's your 2 options with making this bigger, okay? You can do another increase row, or you could go up a hook size. And like I said, I'm using the H hook upside down, the H8 5mm hook. You can use an I to make the hat bigger, or you can put in another increase row, or you can do both. It's totally up to you. but the repeat pattern goes from the bobble, from one row of bobbles to the next. Anyway, I will go ahead and finish this hat, and I will include a picture of it in this video at the end of this video. And hopefully I have not confused you too much. I hope you enjoyed making this hat so much. You could tag me on Instagram, purple_yarnivore. You can email me your hat. However, I'd love to see the work that you did. These will all line up if you follow the pattern correctly. I'm sure you're going to create something amazing. Anyway, this is my first crochet tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, you can email me. I'll put my email in the description box. And you have a beautiful day. Thank you. Bye.